Morning campers. Well, it's a really nice day today. Had not a bad sleep last night. My toe is bothering me a bit, but we'll get that taken care of. But it rained, heavy shower rain last night. Had breakfast this morning. Just on my way down to the trailhead. Cameron's going to meet me, so he'll be there by noon. Met some really nice people. Really nice group of Americans, like I said. Then I met some Canadians here. Really nice group of people. I was very, very lucky to have such nice, friendly folks at that campsite. But anyway, yeah, they figure about 2.5 hours to get to the trailhead. I'm running a little behind schedule. I don't want to leave Cameron. But I'll give you a quick shot here. So that's looking back towards the campsite. So sometimes you have to look back, right? It's a beautiful, beautiful spot. Really nice trails, really, really good. You're actually in the national park here. Just inside the national park. So yeah, isn't that beautiful? Just really nice. So anyway, here we go. Keep on keeping on. So I gotta show you something here. So this is the difference. So I'm in a national park, right? So you have national park people that are taking care of things, which is a good thing. Despite it's maybe a little over-regulated, but this is the kind of thing. So you see here, look at all this blowdown stuff. And this isn't the first time I've come across it. It's all cleared. The path is well maintained. This is the difference when you have somebody taking care of things. And of course, that's why you pay your park pass, you pay your fees. All of that stuff is because of this. Because this is what you get, as opposed to having to climb over it. And not to say that the Great Divide Trail Association isn't doing a good job, because they are. But you know, they're a small group of people trying to take care of a huge, miles and miles of trail, isolated, you know, all of that stuff. And yeah, I just wanted to kind of point that out, and you know, and you can visibly see the difference, and that's what you're paying for. So, you know, despite the, you know, you look at these blowdowns, all clear, you know. So, you know, give credit where credit's due, right? Despite, you know, I do feel it's a bit over-regulated. I'm not all that happy with the reservation system, you know, but the Parks Department do a good job of taking care of things, that's for sure. So that people can enjoy the outdoors, you know, that's the deal. Anyway, just wanted to say that because I'm sometimes very critical of the Parks Canada, and it's only because, you know, of the booking system and the reservation system, all of that stuff. It just seems it's not set up for somebody like me, somebody and people doing a through hike, which isn't a large number of people. So you can also understand that. Anyway, enough of my ramblings. Here's another good example. Really good example. Look at the work that these guys did, clearing all this stuff for people. Fantastic. Thank you, fellas. It's a pretty nice shot, that. All the water rushing down. Sort of see it down there. I'm not brave enough to go down there. I don't want to go down there. I'm not in the best of health with my knee, although it is getting better. Well, it's not really my knee, it's my outer calf. But isn't that nice? Just met a couple of guys They're going to Pinto Lake. Very popular trail this must be. I was talking to them, they were asking about the trail. And still trying to figure out the Garmin stuff, you know. My watch and this guy, he had a Garmin InReach. And he had a Garmin watch. He was telling me that they don't really talk to each other, so that's what I was kind of wondering about. Give me some tech tips. Thank you very much for that. Okay, and not too far to get to the parking lot now. Hi guys. Well, just met a guy called Stephen, and so anyway, he's asking me what I've been doing, and you know, where are you going and all that stuff. Anyway, he's telling me that the whole of Kananaskis is flooded. And actually the whole park in Kananaskis is closed. They had 150 people that they're trying to evacuate that are stranded like campers. And you know, despite the decision I made to turn around, I still question myself, and it's because I'm getting lower. Of course, things are okay down here, but the higher you go, anyway, he was telling me about that. He was telling me about the flow rates in the Bow River, which is near Calgary, which is, he said, like it's like 500 cubic feet a second or something. He's telling me about all this stuff, and he said, listen, he said, you know what, I understand where you're coming from, but he said, I think you made the right decision. He said, the season is just, he said, he said, it may be August before this water starts receding because the snow is still melting. And he said, we've had rain, and he said all that stuff. So anyway, all I'd like to say is this: if you're ever watching this, Stephen, I really appreciate it. Although I did tell him, I said, geez, you know, I really appreciate what you said. I said, because he said, I think you made the right call. He said, because he said, things are just not. And he's a kayaker too. He said he does a bit of kayaking. And he was saying that him and his daughter were going to go do this little bit. And they had walked in there with the kayaks on top of their heads, or carried them in. And he said, we got there and we're like, no, this isn't going to work. So anyway, it made me feel better about my decision, because, you know, I've been coming down here thinking, oh, geez, you know, I'm really just starting to get into it now. Although I have a few problems with my toe and my calf, and it's like so nice down here. Oh, but you know, it's not like that. So anyway, it was interesting, and it was helpful for me, because of course I don't know about this stuff in Kananaskis, because it's just gone on since I've been away. And yeah, so I'm kind of glad that I did that. And the more people I meet that are aware of the conditions that are going on, the more I realise that, yeah, you know what, Andy, it was a day and a half for you to get out of there. If you'd kept pushing north, you'd have just been further and further away from help. And yeah, may not have been good, you know. It's kind of like you hit a roadblock and sometimes you can't go around it, and that's just the way it is. So anyway, that's my thoughts for today, you could say. Okay, talk to you later. Bye. Well guys, so made it to the parking lot. I'm a little bit early, but that's okay. You know what, it's no problem. At least Cameron won't have to be sitting around here waiting for me when he gets here. So I thought, you know what, I'll have a little drying out party, because we got that rain last night. So give you a little look around. So first thing I got to show you, there's my big toe. Now, how did you do that, you may ask? I have no idea. I honestly don't know. But anyway, that's what's going on there. These are my legs. Now this is a combination of post holing and hitting the rocks when I punch through the snow, and the willows. My recommendation, wear long pants. This leg's kind of the same. And I have a huge bruise. I think I poked myself with a log or something when I was going over a blowdown. There's a big bruise on the back of my calf there. And then, although my tendon leak, for some reason the foot box in my sleeping bag was wet. Don't really know why. And then I have my socks drying out here. I got the tent hang up there. Oh, just trying to get up here. Got my shoes drying out. Probably the first time in a week. There's all my other gear. And not much to see here with the parking lot. Although there was a parks lady and she had a bear locator. Seemingly there's been a bear hanging around this parking lot and they were just trying to locate, see if it was in the area, but she had her locator out, but I don't think she could find him, so she was asking me if I'd seen any bears or any sign of bears, which really I haven't, other than that little bit of scat and a little bit of digging and the one bear I saw by the side of the road. But look at that weather coming in. More rain, more flooding. Ooh, that's what Stephen was saying to me. He said there's going to be a big storm coming in around 5:30. Well, I hope I can just get this stuff dried before that comes in, and then I'll take shelter in that little hut there. But so far so good, although it doesn't look good over there. It's pouring over there, that's for sure. Anyway, see how it goes. Talk to you later. Well, you remember I was telling you guys about the guys from the States I met? Well, I'm in the parking lot and here they all are. So you know what? I'm going to switch it over. I'm going to show you guys all these nice people. And guess what? I got a new can of beer spray. Fantastic, because mine's expiring on 11th month of this year, and these guys are saying, oh, you need any beer spray? Because we can't take it on the plane. So I get this can. Now I'm good till 2030. Well, surely I'll be good till then. Anyway, I'm going to So here they all are. Here's all my friends I just met. What's up? Hey. They're awesome. And they're all from different parts of the States. So they can all introduce themselves. We can start.
Hey, I'm Steph. I'm from Chicago.
Yeah, I'm Joe. I'm with Steph. We're both from Chicago.
Here we go. Here we go.
I'm Erica. I live in Maine. Sochil. I live in California.
Look at that.
Michael, Chicago.
Yeah, Kyle, Chicago.
So you know what? There's one thing I want to ask you guys. How did you guys all get together? Because you're all from different parts.
Yeah.
Steph is amazing.
Wait, is this lady right here?
Yeah.
Boyfriend, college roommate, old coworker's roommate.
Oh, perfect. You know, I was wondering about that because you guys were from all different parts of the States and you're not really close. It's not like not like you guys are all close. So that's really cool. Yeah. Well, it's been a pleasure meeting you guys, and I'm sure glad you got to enjoy the Canadian wilderness.
We all got a new friend.
It's been a highlight for us.
Yeah, that's for sure. I've met so many nice people, and you guys, it's been fantastic. Thanks a lot, guys.
Happy days.
Yeah, you take care. One thing I was going to mention was, you know, when all those guys, my American friends, they were all introducing themselves. Well, prior to them coming off the trail and me meeting them and chatting with them, I was clearing up my stuff, like putting all my stuff in my backpack, and of course I'm facing where the traffic is. It would be heading what? I guess north. And I see all the cars stop, putting their four-way flashers on. And this brown, fairly small, this brown small grizzly walks across the road. But, you know, it was far enough away where I wasn't too concerned. You know, I thought, oh yeah, okay. So anyway, after we did that, when they were doing that introduction, these cars were coming into the parking lot. And they stopped like we didn't really think anything. They were trying to pack up their vehicle with all their backpacks and stuff, and this guy says, "Hey, do you guys not see that bear?" We looked around, about, I would say, 200, 250 yards. That grizzly that had crossed across the highway, he had come all the way around, and he was in the ditch, like I said, about 250 yards away, eating, I don't know, dandelions or well, I know they eat dandelions, so yeah, there he was. Wasn't even bothered. I was like, ooh. Anyway, the reason I mention it, I was so happy for those guys that they got to see, they had come all the way from all over the States, got together. They actually ran the Glacier Half Marathon in Washington. And then they had come up to Banff. I don't know if they went to Jasper. Maybe, I can't remember anyway. And, just to do a little camping, see the Rockies and in Canada, and all that. And yeah, they got to see a grizzly. So I thought that was really cool that they got to see that. That was probably a really nice end for their trip. So yeah, I didn't bother. I don't know if even if I had my camera. To tell you the truth, although I was really happy for them to be that close and see that small grizzly, what worries me, a long time ago I met a fella, and he described it like this. He said, a spoiled bear is a dead bear. And what he meant by that is that they have to be afraid of us. If they become if they're not afraid of us, they get in trouble. And if they get in trouble, I think now, and I'm not sure about this, but if they get in trouble, they relocate them to a more remote area. I think that's kind of like the first line of defense. If the bear gets himself in trouble, they put a collar on him and they relocate him. And if that doesn't work and he continues, you could sort of say, bothering people, he'll be shot. That's the sad part. So you want those bears to remain wild. You don't want them to be accustomed to us. It's really nice and everything to see them, and great, right? It's fantastic. They're a beautiful animal. But I think that fella's right. A spoiled bear is a dead bear. That's the sad part. That they need to be afraid of us, because instinctively they're afraid of us, and that's how it has to be. Now, that bear, was it just because he wasn't afraid because he felt he was far enough away? I don't know what to say. I'm not sure, but that kind of stuff worries me, and it worries me for the bear. It's not for me. It worries me about the bear. And the funny thing is, it was when I was talking to that parks lady, I told her about that bear that I saw in the ditch, and I said, yeah, the bear hid in the tree. She said, that's exactly what they're meant to do. She said, that bear saw that you saw it and thought, oh, I better hide. She said, that's perfect. That's exactly what they should be doing. But that's not what that grizz did. He knew He could see all these people looking at him, and he wasn't afraid. So, anyway, just thought I'd add that. But it wasn't, like I said, you know, it was nice for those guys to see the grizzly up that close. Was really, really cool. Okay, talk to you later. Hi guys, so here I am. So Cameron picked me up right on schedule at noon. And, you know, I have to say, like, I'm so grateful. You know, Cameron left his 10 months? Oh, 11 months. Well, almost 11-month-old. 2 babies. And his wife Chelsea's at home looking after them. You know, and then I know she sent me a text and she said, oh, it's okay, Andy. Mum came over, gave me a hand, you know. You know, so all, you know, I'm really grateful for that. Because, you know, they have twins, right? They had twins, a girl and a boy. And they're great. And that's what bothered me was, you know, that he had to leave. He left his wife and kids. And you know, he's busy all week at work. And then, you know, and she's busy all week with the twins, you know, looking after 2 little kids. And then, you know, like at least when he's home on the weekend, you know, they're both working together, you know. And, you know, everybody gets kind of like a, you know, like a little break, you know, because, I mean, looking after one, you know, is tough. And looking after 2 is doubly tough. So anyway, I really appreciate Cameron, Chelsea, and Chelsea's mum. You know, everybody helping me out, and I just want to say thank you, and I really appreciate that. So anyway, Cameron picked me up, and then we drove to Canmore and had some pizza in Canmore because we were both hungry. And then we drove to Medicine Hat, and Cameron dropped me off here, and then he lives in Tabor, so of course he had another hour and 15-minute drive. But he sent me a text and said, yeah, I'm home okay, so that's good. And like I said, I really appreciate that. And what else happened today? I met a couple of guys, actually. I don't know if they've hiked the full GDT or they've certainly hiked parts of it. So they were asking me, hey, what have you been doing? And I was telling them about everything that had gone on. They were like, yeah, it's just, conditions are crazy right now. They like, it shouldn't be like this. Met a guy, I think I told you about, was it Stephen? No. Jeez, I can't remember his name. And he was telling me about, you know, they've had this flooding in Kananaskis. That's where me and Robot were. And the park is completely shut down. So they had so much water and the rivers flooded that I guess the campgrounds ended up, or at least one of them that had like 120 people, they were stranded there because of the amount of water. They couldn't get out, whether it was by their car or whether they had cars and trailers. And, you know, anyway, they managed to get those people out. So the whole park there is shut down, which will be disappointing for people who are maybe perhaps starting the GDT now. And then, you know, they're heading to Kananaskis, because if that's shut down, they'll either have to skip ahead or I don't know. Anyway, it's I'm not the only one that's having problems. You know, there's other people that are having problems with the snowfall, you know, and all of that stuff. Stephen, I think the guy's name was, like, he said this is like the record amount of snowfall in decades. And then we're getting rain, so we're getting the snow melt, rain on top of that. And yeah, it's just crazy. So anyway, that's been my day. And then I just had a shower and I got cleaned up, and I'm going to go to a walk-in clinic tomorrow about this toe, because obviously it's not good, you know. although it really didn't slow me down that much. Like, it didn't really slow me down that much. So, but anyway, it needs attention for sure. And I'm a bit embarrassed about my legs. Like, I look pretty beat up. But it was just a combination of the whole, what would it have been? Well, it was 6 days of hiking, right? Because I had 1 day off. It's the combination of the 6 days. I mean, I had blowdowns, starting right at the start. So, like when the branches break off, they're like this little, they're really sharp. And if you just graze your leg past them, chances are they'll cut you. I mean, and then I kept saying to myself, well, if you had pants on, they'd probably rip to shreds right now. But I guess they would have saved. If I was doing this again, I would wear long pants for the willows, because then you go through these willows, and they're on the over, and they're just, and they scratch your legs just, and of course the more you go through, eventually all those scratches build up, and then you end up with a, like bleeding or whatever. But yeah, so it's been quite the trip, and everybody's pretty relieved that I'm home. Cameron and Chelsea and Lisa and Barney. I just talked to Barney on the phone, and he said, so what was it like then? And I said, because of course I haven't posted any videos. I have to go through them because I just want to make sure they're okay. Because, how can I put this? It was, I can handle hard days, but like I said to those two fellas, can't remember their names, it was, the schedule was in my head. I gotta keep going, and I was hiking, it was 11-hour days, and it shouldn't have really taken me 11 hours. But because of the obstacles, the snow, the blowdowns, they made them longer days and harder days. And then I kept, I kept falling behind, and that schedule was in my head. And I'm like, no, got to keep going, got to keep to the schedule if I come off schedule. And it's true that, like I said before, it's unfortunate. But the schedule I had set myself was not fast. There's an easy schedule, there's a moderate schedule, and then there's a fast schedule that's in the Great Divide Handbook. And I went with the moderate, because I feel that that's kind of where I'm at. Like, I can do the miles. Like, and I was a bit concerned about my fitness, but I feel like my fitness was okay. I feel like my fitness was all right. I'm not saying it's easy, but I felt like my fitness was okay. So in that regard, it was, but that was another thing that kind of bothered me. And I kept falling behind. And, but anyway, it was, I don't want to, the thing was, I realized it was starting to be like a job. You know what I mean? I wasn't enjoying it anymore. If I'm really honest, it was just like, this is just like a, what is it? It was just a struggle. It was just constant. And then, like I said, I got to that river, and I'm like, you know what? If I cross over here and then I start up that river, there is no turning back. Because, going up is one thing, but if I had to go down, I'd have to go down backwards. I'd have to go down with my back facing the river. Because if I turned around, I'd probably have the feet swept under me, and I'd be washed down the river. So, you know, that was the other thing about my decision there at Cataract Creek. I thought, you know what, that this just isn't working. And the people I've talked to have said, yeah, you know, but I question myself because, you know, is it this, is it that? It was a whole bunch of things. But at the end of the day, I thought, once you commit to that river, there's no turning back. You need to keep going. And I didn't know what things were like, because, you know, I'm going uphill too, right? I'm climbing in elevation, and I don't know what they're like on the other side. So I thought, yeah. So I think at the end of the day, that was it. And now, you know, the bookings are lost. The bookings are gone because, you know, that's just it. So yeah, it's a tough pill to swallow, but, you know, I need to, that's just it. And I've thought, well, maybe I could, you know, maybe later on, you know, maybe I could try and do a little bit of something, you know, if I can get campsite bookings and that kind of stuff. But anyway, yeah. Anyway, I'm glad to be home. I'm going to get this toe looked at, which is another thing. And probably wasn't a good idea to keep going on that. I don't know to this day what I did to it. I was talking to my friend Barney, and like he was saying, you know, in that freezing cold water, he said you could have banged it, and because it was so cold, you know, because it's ice cold water, right? It's the melt from the snow, so the water is ice cold. He said you could have banged it and not even known it. Because at first I thought it was frostbite. I actually thought I had frostbite in my toe until I took my sock off. And I was like, ooh, this isn't good. You know? I actually thought it was like frostbitten from the cold water. But anyway, we'll go and get seen about tomorrow and see what they can do for me, or if whatever. So anyway, that's the end of my hike, and I'm going to try and do a little maybe local stuff. You know, because at the end of the day, I did enjoy it. And I was kind of getting into the rhythm. You know, it takes a week to sort of really get like into a rhythm. And then you start getting in a rhythm. And, you know, you notice things about the trail. You notice the trail easier, especially when it's like hidden and stuff, and the willows and stuff like that. Like things start clicking, right? And I want to continue like my fitness sort of thing. And so I may post some little videos, and I'll see how things go. And I just want to say I appreciate you guys. I'm sorry it's so short. It's a short little stretch, and I hope you liked the videos, and I really appreciate you guys watching. And like I said, I hope you had a good day, and hope you're having a good night. And yeah, it's good night from me. Good night.